Now the company has sold goods on credit basis to the customer and the customer is going to make the payment after 3 months. Where goods is sold on credit basis and the cash is not received immediately, so it will be received in the future on behalf of the organization. So the amount to be received in the future, right, which is called as bills receivable. Even though if the customer have not paid the amount, in such cases also the organization will get the benefit of account receivable. Hello everyone, I am Arshita, lecturer, Department of Commerce, Vidyashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence, Mysore. Today we are in the first session of Unit 5, that is factoring. Let us see what is this factoring. So factoring is also one of the important financial service which is provided by the financial organization. Let us discuss about this unit today. So we shall see what is this factoring is all about. So first we shall see an introduction about factoring. So before going through this explanation, let me give an example with this picture so that you can clearly understand what is factoring. Suppose this factoring takes place in credit transactions. So if the goods are purchased on credit basis, then this factoring takes place, or the concept of factoring comes into existence when the goods are sold on credit basis. Now if you see the picture, there is a factor as well as there is a company. For example, the company has sold the goods on credit basis. So if the company have sold goods on credit basis, then, so what do you mean by credit basis? Here, if the goods are sold, the amount of cash is not received immediately. So there will be a particular period of time. For example, to receive the amount by the company, it has taken 3 months of duration. In the sense, the goods or the cash which is not received immediately, but after 3 months, the customer is going to give the cash to the company. That is, the company have sold goods to the customer. Now the customer has not paid the amount immediately. So he has taken 3 months to make the payment. Now what the company will do? Company will appoint a new person who is called as factor. So company will appoint a new person who is called as factor. So when the goods are sold on credit basis, it is called as accounts receivable or debtors. Accounts receivable or debtors. So this account receivable will be given by the customer to the company. As I told you, cash is not paid immediately. So instead of cash, what the customer will give to the company, that is this account receivable. Now what the company will do? Company will appoint a new person who is called as factor. Now company transfers that account receivable to factor. Now what is the duty of the factor? Taking that accounts receivable, factor will give the amount. Factor give the amount to the company. For example, the amount which is there in the account receivable is rupees 10,000. Then the factor will take that account receivable and give the cash to the company. So here, for appointing and factor, what the company has to give? For a company has to give the fees. Now on the due date, what the factor will do? Factor will collect the amount from the customer. So factor will collect the amount from the customer, that is rupees 10,000. So on behalf of the company, the factor is going to collect the amount for which the company has to give some amount in the form of fees. So once again I'll repeat. So what is this factoring is all about? So if the company has sold goods on credit basis and the customer will give the amount after a particular period of time. So in this example, I have taken it as 3 months. Now the company has sold goods on credit basis to the customer and the customer is going to make the payment after 3 months. Now what the company will do? Company will appoint a person who is known as factor. Now what is the duty of the factor? So company will give the account receivable which is got from the customer to the factor, and factor, after verifying the account receivable, so it will transfer the cash. So for example, if the account receivable amount is rupees 5,000, so it will transfer that 5,000 to the company, that is before the due date. Now what the factor will do, on the due date it will collect the amount from the customer for whom the company has sold goods on credit basis. Now let us see the introduction about factoring. So when a firm sells goods on credit, cash is not received immediately. So this we know. So it is called as credit transaction, where goods is sold on credit basis and the cash is not received immediately. So it will be received in the future. This means there is a time gap. Of course, there is a time gap. If we take the same example here, I have told you the time gap is 3 months, right? So there is a time gap between the sale of goods and services and the receipt of cash of such goods and services. So here the payment is not made immediately. So there is a time gap between the payment as well as sale of goods and services. So that amount is called as what? Outstanding amount. That is, the amount that has to be received in the future is called as outstanding amount, get blocked for a period. This period depends upon the credit period allowed by the buyer. So here that period is decided by whom? By the buyer. So on which date he is going to make the payment. The outstanding amount are called as debtors or account receivable. So I have already told you about this. So that amount which is called as what? That is the amount that is yet to pay is called as debtors or account receivable, which will be received in the future date, and it is an asset for the organization because that amount is going to receive in the future, right? So it is an asset. So if the debts are not collected in time, the firm will be handicapped due to lack of sufficient working capital. Suppose on the due date, if the buyer has not given the amount, then there will be a deficiency of working capital for this organization. The other side is that the debts were collected speedily, the amount could be used productively. So if the organization receives the amount immediately, then of course there will be more working capital and the production also increases in the organization. So further, it is difficult to collect debts. So it is difficult for an organization to collect debts because there are number of transactions like this taking place in an organization, right? So for that reason, moreover, there is a problem of default, that is bad debts also. So there may be a chances where the buyer will not give the amount at all. So that amount is called as what? Bad debts. In short, debtors or account receivable involve risk. Of course, always this account receivable as well as debtors involve risk because the company cannot predict that it will be or that amount will be receiving in the future dates. So it is always treated as a risk. So business enterprise are always looking for selling the debtors for cash even at the discount. So instead of waiting for so many dates till the due date, what the company will do? Company will sell that asset. Here also in this case, they are going to sell the assets to whom? To the factor. So this is possible through the financial service. Such financial service is known as factoring. So this overall process, that is selling the account receivable or bills receivable or debtors to a third party, so that is known as what? Factoring, and receiving the cash from them at a discount is called as factoring. Now let us see what is the meaning of factoring. Like securitization, so we shall see securitization later. Factoring also is a financial innovation. Of course, we are going to study about financial service in detail. So as I have already told you, factoring is also one of the important financial service. Factoring provides resources to finance receivables. That is the amount that has to be received in a future, which is known as account receivable or debtors. So keeping this one, so here the organization can receive cash. So it facilitates the collection of receivables. That is the amount that has to be received in the future can be got in the present time only. The word factor is derived from the Latin word facia. So the word factor, now we shall come to the concept. The word factor is derived from the word facia. It means to make or to do or to get things done. So what the meaning of facia? It means make or to do or to get things done. So factoring simply refers to selling the receivables by the firm to another party. The buyer of the receivables is called as factor. Now as I have already told you, so if the goods are sold on credit basis, so here the organization will get the account receivable or debtors. So that will be sold to a third party who is called as factor. So when it is sold to the factor, what the factor will do? Factor will give the amount of that account receivable by deducting some amount which is called as discount. Now this person for whom the account receivable is sold by the organization is called as factor. Thus, factoring refers to the agreement in which the receivables are sold by the firm, that is client, to the factor, that is financial intermediary. Now here the factor is who? That is a financial intermediary, and the firm is what? That is a client. So here the firm is going to sell that account receivable to a person who is called as factor. Now factor is a financial intermediary. The factor can be a commercial bank or finance company. So factor can be any of them. So it may be a commercial bank or any other financial institution. So when receivables are factored, the factor takes possession of the receivables and generally becomes responsible for its collection. So I have already told you here the factor takes the account receivable of the organization and give the amount to the organization. So here organization, it collects the account receivable from the organization and give the cash to the organization. On the due date, this factor will collect the amount from the customers for whom the organization has sold goods from them. On the due date, the factor will collect the amount. It also undertakes administration of credit, that is credit control, as well as sales, accounting, etc. So it is one of the important financial service which is there in the financial organization. Now let us see what are the objectives of factoring. Hope you have understood the meaning of factoring. Let us see what are the objectives of factoring. So the first objective is that to relieve from the trouble of collecting receivables, so has to concentrate on sales and other major areas of business. Of course, I have already told you on behalf of the organization, so the amount to be received in the future, right, which is called as bills receivable. So the amount which has to be received in the future, so that burden will be transferred to a separate person who is called as factor. Now, the organization need not worry about the collection of that amount because already it has been transferred to the factor. Now, the factor will take that responsibility to collect the amount from the customers. So, here the organization can do other activity. So, it relieves the organization from collecting the debt or collecting the receivables from the customer. And the second objective is that to minimize the risk. Of course, I have told you here the risk of organization, that is collecting of amount from the customer, will be transferred to whom? To the factor. Now, on behalf of the organization, factor is going to collect the amount from the customer. So, to minimize the risk of bad debts arising on the account of non-realization of credit sales. So, if any amount, so suppose if the customers have not paid the amount in the future, right? In such cases, the risk will be borne by whom? By the factor itself. So, the factor has to suffer. And the third point is to adopt better credit control policy. Of course, there will be a very good control policy because the organization need not worry about the collection of money from the customers. So, here the risk is being transferred to a separate person who is called as factor. And the next one is to carry on business smoothly and not to rely on external sources to meet working capital requirement. So here the organization have already received the amount from the factor on behalf of this account receivable. So the organization need not worry about the coming or receiving of amount from the customers. It can go on conducting its activities smoothly. And the next one is to get information about the market, customers, credit worthiness, etc. So has to make necessary changes in the marketing policy or strategy. So depending upon the feasibility of the customers, that is repayment of the customers, so here the marketing strategy can be developed in the financial market through this factoring process. Now let us see what are the types of factoring. So we have already discussed about introduction about factoring, meaning of factoring, objectives of factoring. So the whole process of collecting that money is called as what? Factoring. Now let us see what are the various types of factoring. So there are various types of factoring and this can be discussed as below. So the first one is recourse factoring. Let us see what is this recourse factoring. So in this type of factoring, the factor only manages the receivables without taking any risk like bad debts. Now what is the difference here? I have already told you, if there is any risk of bad debts, so it will be borne by the factor, right? But in this case of factoring, that is under recourse factoring, so here of course the factor only manages the receivables, that is the amount to be received from the customers, but it does not take the risk of bad debts. So it does not take any risk of bad debts. So such type of factoring is called as recourse factoring. So full risk is borne by the firm, that is client itself. So if the organization is or want to receive rupees 10,000 from the customers, okay, so it has sold goods to the customers on credit basis and it has to receive rupees 10,000 from the customers. So if the customer have not given that amount, then it is called as what? It is called as bad debts. So this unrecoverable amount is called as bad debts. So under recourse factoring, the whole bad debts is not borne by the factor, but it is borne by whom? By the organization itself. So it will be borne by the organization itself. And the next one is non-recourse factoring. So this is reverse to recourse factoring. So full risk, here the firm gets total credit protection because complete risk of the total receivable is borne by whom? By the factor itself. Now here the risk is borne by the factor, whereas under recourse factoring the risk is not borne by the factor, so it will be there with the organization. Whereas coming to non-recourse factoring, here the risk is borne by the factor. The client get 100% cash against the invoice arising out of credit sales by the client even if the bad debts occur. So for example, even if the bad debts occur, even if the customer have not paid the amount, in such cases also factor give 100% of the account receivable to the organization. So here the whole amount will be or whole risk will be borne by the factor, even though if the customer have not paid the amount, in such cases also here the organization will get the benefit of account receivable. For the factoring service, the client pays a commission to the factor. So here the commission is being paid to the factor. So for doing all these activity, that is collecting the amount from the customer, so what the organization will do? Organization will give a percentage of commission to the factor. So this is also called as full factoring. So this type of this non-recourse factoring is called as what? Full factoring. Now coming to the third type, maturity factoring. So in this type of factoring, the factor does not pay any cash in advance. So whole amount. So in normal type of factoring, of course, when an organization consults a factor, so certain amount will be given by the factor to the organization in advance. That is keeping the receivables, that is keeping the account receivable of the organization. Here the factor will give some amount as advance. But under maturity factoring, in this type of factoring, the factor does not give any amount in advance. The factor pays client, that is the organization, only when the received fund, that is collection of the credit sales from the customer, or when the customer guarantee full payment. For example, if the duration of the period is 2 months, so here the factor is not going to give the amount in advance. After 2 months, that is after receiving from the customer, then only the amount will be given to the organization, that is after recovery from the customer. And the next one is advance factoring. So it is reversed to maturity factoring. Here the factor makes advance. So here certain percentage of amount of account receivable will be paid by the factor in advance. So here the factor makes advance payment of about 80% of the invoice value to the client. Suppose if the invoice value is 20,000, then 80% of this invoice value will be given as advance to the organization. So here the factor makes advance payment of about 80% of the invoice value of the client. So here 80% of the amount will be given by the factor to the organization as advance, and remaining 20% will be given after the recovery from the customer. And the next one is invoice discounting. So under this arrangement, the factor gives advance to the client against receivables and collect interest. So here, along with the amount which is received from the account receivable, other than that, it collects interest, that is service charge, for the period extending from the date of advance to the date of collection. So here the factor will collect interest also along with the amount which is received on account receivable. So it collects interest also from the customers. And the next one is undisclosed factoring. So in these types of customers, or in this case the customers, debtors of the client are not informed about the factoring. So here what the organization will do, organization will appoint a factor, but in order to collect the amount from the customer, right? So this normally happens in all types of factoring, but here the customer will not be knowing that the organization appointed a factor. So here the factor in the name of organization. So in the name of organization itself, it is going to deal with the customer. So the customer will not be knowing that a factor is being appointed for the collection of account receivable. So here the factor will be appointed actually, but factor will act in the name of organization. So it will act in the name of organization and collect the amount from the account, or collect the amount from the customer. So in this case, the customer, that is debtors of the client, are not at all informed. So there will be no information to the customer about the factoring agreement between the factor and the client. So client is nothing but what? Organization here. The factor performs all its usual factoring service in the name of client. That is, in the name of organization itself, the factor is going to collect the money from the customer or a sales company to which the client sell its book debts. So though the company, the factor deals with the customers. So through this, company deals with the customer directly. So in the name of factor, here the customer is going to deal with the organization. So as I told you, here on the name of organization, factor is going to collect the amount from the customer. So this type of factoring is found in UK. So here this type of factoring service will be found in UK. So this is about undisclosed factoring. So here the word itself says that here the factor is not going to disclose the name of the factor. So on behalf of the factor or on behalf of the organization, the factor is going to collect the amount and the customer is not aware about the factoring agreement. And the next one, cross-border factoring. So it is similar to the domestic factoring except that there are 4 parties. Let us see what are the 4 parties here. Exporter, export factor, import factor as well as importer. Now here there are having 4 parties, same as domestic factoring, but here there are extra 4 parties, that is exporter, export factor, import factor as well as importer. So it is also called as two-factor system of factoring. Now what happens here? Exporter, that is the client, enters into factoring arrangement with the export factor. Now, exporter wants to receive the amount from the importer. For that, what the exporter will do? Exporter will appoint a person who is known as export factor. In the same way, importer wants to give amount to the customer, right? Because he has imported the goods. For that reason, he will appoint a person who is called as import factor. Now, whatever the amount that has to be given to the exporter by the importer, so that will be transferred by the import factor to the export factor. So there is not a dealing directly between the exporter and importer. So there is a dealing between the export factor as well as import factor. So exporter enters into factoring arrangement with export factor in his country and assigns to him export receivable. Now what the exporter will do? Exporter sells the account receivable to whom? To the export factor. So it sells the account receivable to export factor, and what the export factor will do? Export factor will collect. So it will not directly collect from the importer. So it will collect the money from the import factor. So there is a relationship between the export factor and import factor. So export factors enters into an arrangement with import factor and has arrangement for credit evaluation and collection of payment for an agreed fee. Now here export factor as well as import factor works for an agreed fee. Notation is made on the invoice that importer has to make payment to the import factor. Now in order to make the payment, so what first importer will do? Importer will make payment to import factor. So importer will make payment to import factor. Import factor will make payment to export factor. So it will make payment to export factor, and the amount which is there in the export factor will directly goes to the exporter at the end. So this is about this type of factoring. So notation is made on the invoice that importer has to make payment to the import factor. Import factor collects payment and remits to export factor. As I have already told you, importer will make payment to the import factor. Import factor will make payment to the export factor. So and remits to export factor, who passes on proceeds to the exporter after adjusting his advance. Later on, export factor makes payment to the exporter. Where foreign currency is involved, factor covers exchange risk also. Now here there is more risk, that is export risk will be more because of change in currency. So this is about cross-border factoring. So in my next session, I am going to discuss this topic, that is process of factoring, where we are going to discuss about factoring mechanism. So this process of factoring is also called as factoring mechanism. Next, feature or nature of factoring, and the last topic is functions of a factor. Let us discuss this topic in a further session. So my dear students, in today's session we have learned basic concepts of factoring. See you all in my next session. Till then, take care. Thank you.